Being able to incorporate sound into a film was truly a groundbreaking moment for the medium. On the off chance that some theaters back in the day had a pianist, organist, or a small orchestra to accompany a silent film, those films were still just that, silent. And while a pianist or orchestra provides melodic accompaniment to set the tone for a scene, sound extends so much further than that of a melody in today's television and film. As a matter of fact, the fan edits on this channel rely heavily on sound in more ways than perhaps you've come to expect. So, with that, I'd like to welcome you to this installment of Outside the Frame, where we take a look at and discuss some of the various techniques, elements, and practices that go into making these fan edits. Today's topic is audible cues. Now, as I've said numerous times throughout these little discussions, the material with which I have to work with can be extremely limiting in terms of what the platform will allow, and insofar as the content I need actually existing. In addition to that, I do try to be respectful of the properties I use to construct these edits. I do my best not to overplay the content. I keep it brief and to the point, careful to linger only long enough to make the point I'm trying to make, lest it get gratuitous. With those limitations in place, it can be difficult to construct a narrative and in turn specific scenes to bring that narrative to life. And now here's where sound plays its role. Because of platform restrictions, or the content simply not existing, constructing a scene that reflects a narrative point and enforces an idea becomes challenging. The solution is to introduce audible cues. Audible cues are any number of sound bites, combined or alone, that offer audible context to a scene when visual representation simply isn't possible. Various examples throughout these fan edits exist. In Dinner Date Disaster, Batgirl engages in a less than platform-friendly romp in the sack. Take a listen.
You just enjoy your little dinner.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Tired, but okay.
Now, because of the delicate nature of this scene, a cutaway to the outside of the bedroom, coupled with faint audible moans, imply that frisky business is afoot. And yes, I know the scene does eventually extend into the bedroom, but cutting away and using audible cues is a great way to not overplay your hand while still maintaining the integrity of the narrative. Interestingly, in its original form, this scene was not designed to be consensual. However, for the purposes of this reconstructed narrative, it had to be. As a result, additional audio from a more pleasant and inviting interaction involving Tracy Jordan is edited into the scene towards the end as an affirmation.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Tired, but okay.
In another example, we have a scene from the episode Tempest Rising 2, in which Batgirl gets her lumps in against the villainous Voltress, played wonderfully by Jacqueline Velvet. Let's take a listen.
Oh my god!
Are you kidding me? You want to take me on?
I'm not a mean punch.
Oh, enough of this!
Interestingly, in its original form, Batgirl gets beaten to a bloody pulp. However, for the purposes of this reconstructed narrative, Batgirl, who was overdue for a win, actually gets to take down the villainess. Given that the content doesn't exist insofar as I know, here's how it all went down. For this to work, a power outage has to be spun into the narrative to allow for a scene of total darkness. In the darkness, a number of audible cues are then combined to give the impression that Batgirl indeed took down the Vultress. In order, you have Vultress taunting Batgirl, and rightfully so, after her dominant display against our hero. Second, we have Batgirl affirm that she packs a mean punch. And lastly, we have the collective sounds of punches and grunts to suggest that Batgirl indeed served up justice. Now, what about linking two totally unrelated clips with audible cues so that they work in tandem with one another to construct a scene? In the fan edit Floodgate, Robin, played by Tomiko Tajima, gets bested by Trini in an unfortunate turn of events for the young hero. Watch and listen closely.
In this, our inaugural episode, we honor one of this generation's most beautiful minds, whose legacy will forever be cemented, thanks to her groundbreaking innovation.
The first couple of seconds in that scene are of Robin quietly watching TV. Cut to the next shot and a door to a home is being opened. While the two shots stem from different clips, notice how the audio from the first clip spills into the next shot to imply that both shots are interconnected. Flipping back to Robin on the couch, you'll notice that the audio of the door being opened spills into the shot. Fortunately for me, in its original iteration, Tomiko does indeed tilt her head in curiosity over something she hears. However, in the original clip, there isn't any audible cue, at least none that I can discern. To make these fan edits work, narratives need to be constructed around the content that's available so that the content can serve a new purpose. As I've just explained and demonstrated, audible cues serve as one of the more invaluable elements used to construct these fan edits. From being mindful of platform constraints, to placing my own limitations on how generous I should be with the original content, audible cues allow for flexibility while still preserving the integrity of the narrative. As I've said in the past, just because a topic has been discussed doesn't mean I won't have more to say on it at a later date, assuming we're still here. In the meantime, I hope you continue to enjoy the fan edits I've been providing, as well as these beyond the frame insights into some of the processes that make them possible. Thanks for listening.